What's up everybody, it's King Arthur, and today's video is my first art video. The topic for today's video is tips on how to improve your drawing. Now a quick disclaimer before I begin the video is that I'm not a master, but hopefully these tips that I use to practice will help you out as well, and hopefully you'll learn something. So let's get right into the video. Tip 1 is to watch a lot of art YouTubers. The great thing about today is that we have the internet, which helps us publicize our art. Back in the day, when nobody had computers or internet, they wouldn't be able to get a teacher as easily as it is now. Because back in the day, you'd probably have to pay extra to go to a specific art school. You'd have to be lucky enough to have someone who was already in the business before to teach you. Or it would overall just be much harder. But now that we have YouTube, people like Mark Crilly or Jazza or Bailey J, they all teach. They do these videos to teach us how to get better, because they've already they've improved a lot and they've become very good at what they do. So they share their insight and what they have to offer on the internet. Now, I will be putting out some artists so that you can check them out. I'll leave a link to their channels in the description. Now, 3 I mentioned earlier was Mark Crilly, Jazza, and Bailey J. There are more that I'm going to cover, but I'm just going to give a quick rundown of what all these artists do. Mark Crilly does a lot of step-by-step tutorials, and like he has a variety of skills, to help you improve. He does a lot of step-by-step tutorials, as I mentioned earlier, but he uses a lot of construction lines and building blocks to make the final image. He does a lot of painting, watercolor painting to be exact. He does a lot of realism. He has a whole book on the realism challenge and what he's done and how he does it. So I definitely do recommend him for beginner artists and those who just really want to improve and become more versatile in art. Jazza does a lot of digital art, and he also he holds a contest monthly that will inevitably probably have you improve, because you're measuring yourself up against different artists and you're always trying to fight to be the best. Now this ties into a different tip, so I'm not going to elaborate too much, but he does a lot of tutorials. He has a long list of tutorials where he does some collaborated tutorials, he does some animation tutorials, so he also has a wide list of good things that you should check out. Bailey J does a lot of videos on how to get your art out there, how to make money off your art, how to make money off of YouTube. So she's definitely good if you take art seriously and want to choose it as a career path, which I'm sure most of you who are watching this video probably want to do. Now, to some of the other artists that I was going to mention, White Manga has a lot of stuff on comics and how to draw manga. Now, it's the same with Mark Crilly. They both kind of do the same thing where they both teach you how to create your own comic book. It's just Mark Crilly has more spread out. He has a variety. White Manga has all of his focus focused on like creating comic books, and both of these people have experience. White Manga has a comic, Mark Crilly has a comic. So White Manga shares his experiences and how he made his comic Apple Black, and he shares it with us and teaches us how to draw. So he's really good at what he does, so I recommend him definitely. Cartoon Block shows you different perspectives on how to draw like different characters. The reason I say this is because he had a series called How to Draw. He had a series on how to draw different TV or comic characters, and this basically shows you the point of view of artists when they draw, what their style is, and it'll help you become more diverse, or it'll even help you develop your own style, which is another tip that I will be saying in this video. Now, the next few artists, so we have Psychra, who does digital painting and speed art or speed paintings. He does critiques. He teaches several fundamentals of drawing, so I recommend him as well. Mikey Mega does some pretty funny tutorials where he draws mostly women, and they're pretty pervy, but it's still fun to watch. He also has a he has a drawing channel, but like on the other half of his channel he does gaming, So if you're into that, you should probably check out his channel. So he does a variety of things as well. So again, all these things will be in all these channels will be in the description for you to check out. I really do recommend these people because they're really good at what they do and they will help you improve. Tip 2 is to study and draw from real life. Now, drawing from real life is very important because it'll help you get a basic feel, or it will give you all the details that you need, because let's be honest, real life is where all of these drawing things stem from. This is where drawing originated, with a little bit of a touch from the human mind. So say you draw a tree, you would probably want to get something real life model, because it's really hard to just imagine it in your head. But when you draw from real life, it helps you imagine these things in your head easier, so that you can draw them easier every time you do it. Also, a tip that I hear a lot is to draw the same thing over and over. So say if you want to draw something from real life over and over, that would really help out with your skills and how you can consistently draw something. So tip number 3 is how to develop your style. Now, I mentioned this when I was talking about Cartoon Block. He shows you different outlooks on styles and how different artists draw. Now, this is part of tip 2, or tip 3 is all about style. Sorry, it's all about style. And tip 3 is to develop your own art style. So, in order to do that, though, you need to basically pick up on different artists. You can do that, and you can incorporate all these styles and just put your spin on it, and you'll have your own style. Now, after you've developed your own style, part 2 of tip 3 is that you probably should obviously practice in your own style. And a specific way to do this is to draw other people's characters. Obviously, watch out for copyright. You don't want to steal their characters, but like you draw their characters in your own style, and I mean that could be considered fan art, but it would definitely help you see how well your style is developing. So that's tip number 3, and let's jump right into tip number 4. Now, quick disclaimer before I start this next tip. I'm not sponsored by Jazza's Arty Party app. I'm just saying this because it helps me out personally. So yeah, tip number 4 is to use Jazza's Arty Party app, because not only will it help you out through the supposed art block, which in Bailey J's opinion doesn't exist, which I agree with actually, but it will help you, like say you don't have a flow of ideas, you use this app to essentially improve your art. The way I use it, however, is there's an option to have a randomizer, a custom randomizer, where you write in your own words or your own traits and you run a randomizer, and then that'll help you draw. But the way I use it is that I write in a few topics on what I need to draw or what I need to improve, like for an example, structures, people, anatomy, or nature, and I run it through the randomizer, and I will get one topic, and let's say I have to study this topic for several days. So what I'll do is I'll look up pictures that tie with this topic so that I can study from real life. But also there's another feature in this app that allows you to draw randomly different pictures of real life. It's a tab called the copy challenge, or the copy challenge, and every time you press it you get a different picture, a random picture, and you can basically just practice random. I feel like this version is better because it helps you practice anything. You're not expecting what you're gonna draw. It's right off the bat like new. But I do it on the topic that I'm working on. So I don't just do a random one. I look for a picture that has to do with the topic that I'm learning about, or that I'm trying to practice on. So yeah, that's how I use it. So just a quick reiteration, because I know that was really confusing. I use the custom category randomizer to randomize a topic. I get the topic, I go on the randomizer for the copy challenge, and I search for a picture that is relevant to the topic. So tip number 5 is to participate in contests and challenge yourself. Now, going back to Jazza again, Jazza has a lot of contests that you can participate in to go up against different artists. You see where you are, and in the end it'll inevitably help you improve, because you're constantly trying to improve to beat these artists, and you'll put in more work, you'll improve, you'll eventually improve. And yeah, the challenges help you challenge yourself, so that's why they're called challenges. So yeah, I do recommend doing a lot of challenges or contests, and Jazza is a good source for them. I think White Manga has a challenge as well, or contest, like every month or something like that. But yeah, that is tip 5. Tip 6, if you're really into drawing people, you need to really study anatomy. Now, a lot of the time, people who are starting to draw young, like let's say 10 or 12, they don't take into account anatomy. Now, anatomy is what really helps you draw people well, how you get all the muscles in place, but it depends what style you're drawing. If you draw cartoony, you only partially need to take in anatomy, but if you're going into like a professional comic like Superman or a manga, Dragon Ball Z, you really need to take into account anatomy, because if you've ever seen any of these comics, you'll see that the anatomy is very well done and that the artist has studied them very well. Tip 7. Post practice drawings on a site, but don't necessarily post your intellectual property, because we all know that people will steal your art and they might steal your ideas. So it's better to just post like a practice or a quick drawing of a character, like, I don't know, Link or Mario, I don't know, but if you draw these characters, or if you post them online, have someone critique you, like put in the description, I would like some feedback, please hit me up, or just something like that. It's just an example, it's not serious, but yeah, you really do want to do that so that you get an insight from better artists or people that know, or just they see some things up with your drawing. They're like, yo, there's a little problem with the muscle, maybe you want to tweak that a little to make it look better. You'll get insight from everybody. Tip number 8 is to learn from the pros. Draw characters from your favorite comic artist or painter. Now this is a really good one, because it also ties in with the style one, because it helps you look through different people's style, obviously, but at the same time it also shows you how these people specifically do it and how they develop their style. So that's a good tip. Now moving on to tip 9, it's to practice all these tips, because doing them over and over is the key to improving. So I know this is a no-brainer, it's probably been repeated in every how to draw tips video, but it's a really important one, and they're really not kidding when they say you need to practice. Now the final tip 10, is to invent your own practice techniques. Be creative. I mean, that's the whole thing about art. You have to make your own stuff, or it can be influenced by some different things. So yeah, be creative, create your own techniques. That's the bottom line. So thanks for watching this video today. Hopefully you learned something, and I'll be back with another video soon, hopefully. Now this was my first video, so I'm a little, off. I don't know how to assemble my thoughts a little in this video, so hopefully editing will do the trick, but if that doesn't, then I'm sorry. It's my first video, so it's my first drawing video, so hopefully you guys can understand, and hopefully this video helped you out. So I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. See ya.